All right, partners. Still got some folks trickling in, but we can go ahead and get kicked off. So, hi everybody, welcome. My name is Sammy Havisser. I'm a project manager on the program management team in store development. I've been a partner for about 3 years, and I'll be leading us through the coffee tasting today. So, first, I want to thank Adrian for picking what I think is the perfect coffee for me, particularly because I was told that the best pairing to any coffee is a great story. And I think today with the Colombia Huila, I can actually share a part of my story and tie it back into the coffee for you guys. So y'all take a nice sniff in there. You should be able to get some lavender notes as well as some grapefruit. So part of my connection to Huila is that I actually grew up 600 miles from where this coffee was grown in Colombia. I grew up in a small island called Curaçao off the coast of Venezuela. And for those of you who think of the Caribbean in general as being Jamaica, I'm actually 1,000 miles from Jamaica and only 600 miles from central Colombia. So very Latin in culture. But my connection to this coffee isn't just about geography. It's also about being hybrid. So this coffee is a hybrid of both red and yellow bourbon. It's a very delicate process where you have to bring these together, cultivate them, and you create this pink bourbon as part of the coffee bean. Part of that is that there's a recessive gene that actually makes it pink, which means that the coffee farmers sometimes have to isolate this plant so that it doesn't get influenced by the red or the yellow bourbon and then become red or yellow. I also am mixed. So I am multinational, biracial. My mom is a short black woman from the Caribbean, thick island accent. My dad's a tall, blue-eyed white guy. He's spent most of his life in the Caribbean now, so sometimes he says Caribbean in a really embarrassing accent to his children. So I feel a lot with this bean. I feel what it means to be hybrid. And part of that is it has beautiful notes. It brings out something unique when you have these two things, but it also brings out these unique challenges. So I also feel for this bean because of this idea of isolation. And it's not to protect your identity. For the bean, you have to protect it from either going yellow or red. When you're mixed or when you're intersectional, or I think a lot of people feel this, is that you sometimes feel like you need to be isolated, not to protect, but because you can never fully be the other thing. I can't become a yellow bourbon bean because I'm always going to be half red, right? So I think that speaks a lot to why we're here as well. And actually, part of the reason why Adrian convinced me to do this was because we're talking about Black History Month. We're talking about all these different networks coming together. And I actually wanted to share how terrified I was when I came to Starbucks 3 years ago to join the BPN. Because I didn't have a Black American experience. My story wasn't one that I thought I was going to hear there. I didn't think that I was representing that group or would be represented by that group. I felt that those things that made me unique actually made me a little bit isolated. I didn't want to walk into a BPN meeting and say, I know what it feels like to be a Black person in America, because I don't. I'm mixed. I am kind of ethnically ambiguous, so I sneak into a lot of places and no one really knows what to do with me, which sometimes means people don't know they're supposed to discriminate against me if they think they have an issue with one of my cultures. But that does change your perspective, and it does change the way that you feel you can connect to people. But when I started, I kind of pushed myself a little bit. I kept telling myself, I'm not qualified for this group. I'm not qualified to speak to this. And then I realized it's not really about qualifications, right? What it is, it's about curiosity. I can never live an experience of anybody else in this room, no matter what it is that you identify as. But I can ask you about your story. And I can connect with you, and I can kind of push my own boundaries and learn, as opposed to just trying to protect myself. So I think that's really what I love about the BPN, is not that I can now say that I'm a proud Black partner, because I am, but it's also because I've met incredible people through this and had great stories and shared lots of great conversations. So my challenge to you all, as you all sip your coffee and hear this incredible story from Roz, is I challenge everyone in this room, whether you came here from WIN or from Next or from BPN, join a network that you don't think that you're qualified for. Go join them, go to an event, just follow them on Workplace, be part of this group, and actually don't show up saying, I know what it feels like to be you and have your experience, because you won't, and you can't expect that to come out of this, but you can show up and say, tell me your story, because I want to know about you and what makes you different and unique. So with all that, that's enough about my story. Thank you very much.